Hello, in this session we will discuss about equilibrium constants and degree of advancement of reaction. First we will discuss reaction coefficient. Shortly we will discuss the physical significance of reaction coefficient. Before that, let's go ahead with the mathematical derivation. In the last session we discussed that at constant temperature and pressure, reaction Gibbs energy is given as delta Rg is equal to sum over Vi mu I. Vi is the stoichiometric coefficient of the reactants and products, and mu I is the chemical potential of the ith species, both for reactants and products. Again, the chemical potential is given as mu I 0 plus RT ln AI. AI is the activity of ith species. Then upon substituting this chemical potential in this reaction Gibbs energy expression, we can get an expression like this, where delta Rg is equal to sum over Vi mu I0. Mu I0 is the standard state chemical potential plus RT sum over Vi ln AI. Again, Vi mu I0 is, we can substitute Vi mu I0 as reaction Gibbs energy at standard state. Then changing the stoichiometric number into the exponential form, it is here the stoichiometric number Vi can be changed into exponential position. So we will get an expression like this. Then this expression can also be rearranged as the sum of logarithm can be replaced by logarithm of products. So if I will do that, what I will get, reaction Gibbs energy is equal to reaction Gibbs energy at standard state plus RT ln then logarithm of products. Now this expression is important. The product of activities at any state other than equilibrium is known as reaction coefficient. This expression is known as reaction coefficient. So I can write reaction coefficient is written as capital Q, and I can write Q is equal to product logarithm of products. So ln then product expression AI exponential Vi. So I can write delta Rg is equal to delta Rg0 plus RT ln Q. This Q is reaction coefficient. Again, it is important to note that reaction coefficient is applicable at any state of reaction other than equilibrium state. We will also understand this pictorially in a short while. Then this equation 34 can be also understood as when the reaction Gibbs energy is negative, then the reaction proceeds in forward direction. When the reaction Gibbs energy is positive, then the reaction will proceed in backward direction. Let's consider a general example to understand this reaction coefficient. Let's consider a general reaction where A and B reacts to form C and D. All are in gaseous states. Now the stoichiometric coefficients of A is alpha, B is beta, C is gamma, and D is delta. So I can write Gibbs energy as reaction Gibbs energy is equal to reaction Gibbs energy at standard state plus at product side, these are all gaseous reactants and products. So I can express their amounts in terms of their partial pressures. So I will do that by gamma RT ln Pc by P0, delta RT ln Pd by P0. These two terms are for products, minus alpha RT Pa by P0 minus beta RT ln Pb by P0. Again, P0 is a reference state. Generally it is the standard state. Its value is around 1 atmosphere or 1 bar. So if we rearrange the terms, we will get delta Rg is equal to delta Rg0 plus RT ln Pc to the power gamma Pd to the power delta over Pa to the power alpha into Pb to the power beta. Now what is delta Rg0 here? It is the reaction Gibbs energy at standard state. We have studied that reaction Gibbs energy at standard state is obtained from the reaction Gibbs energy of formation. So reaction Gibbs energy of standard state is equal to reaction Gibbs energy of formation of the products minus reaction Gibbs energy of formation of reactants. Again I am repeating, reaction Gibbs energy at standard state is equal to Gibbs energy of formation at standard state for products minus Gibbs energy of formation at standard state for reactants. This is for products minus reactant. It is important to note the standard state reaction Gibbs energy delta R G0 does not depend upon partial pressure of the reactants and products, while on the other hand delta R G reaction Gibbs energy depends upon what? Partial pressure of the products and reactants, but delta R G0 is independent of partial pressures of products and reactants. Again, so this reaction coefficient in terms of partial pressure is partial pressure of the products raised to their stoichiometric coefficient divided by partial pressure of the reactants raised to their corresponding stoichiometric coefficients. So, what is reaction coefficient? As I said, we'll understand in a pictorial form. Last session we discussed that at equilibrium, delta Rg is 0, means reaction Gibbs energy is 0 at equilibrium. So, reaction coefficient just shows our state of the chemical equation at any other state. It may be either before equilibrium or after equilibrium. So, reaction coefficient is not applicable to the equilibrium state, rather it is applicable to all other states before the equilibrium and after the equilibrium. It can be any state of the reaction, chemical reaction, but not the at equilibrium position. So, after that we will discuss equilibrium constant. Now, equilibrium constant is applicable to the equilibrium state. Precisely, the equilibrium constant is applicable to equilibrium state, but at other state we will use reaction coefficients. So, we will discuss equilibrium constant. The chemical potential is given as mu I is equal to mu I0 plus RT ln AI. At equilibrium, we have studied that the reaction Gibbs energy is 0. So, our expression becomes Vi mu I is equal to 0. Sum over of Vi mu I at equilibrium state is equal to 0. If we substitute the chemical potential value here, what is the chemical potential value? The chemical potential value is mu I0 plus RT ln AI. Again, AI is at equilibrium state. So, we will get an expression like this. Again, if I replace the sum of logarithm as logarithm of products, I will get an expression of like this in terms of activities at equilibrium state. So, the product of activities at equilibrium is known as equilibrium constant of the reaction. Again, the product of activities at equilibrium state is known as equilibrium constant of the reaction. Now, I can always say that reaction Gibbs energy at standard state is equal to minus RT ln K, because at this point the reaction Gibbs energy is 0. So, the reaction Gibbs energy at standard state is equal to minus RT ln K. Now, K is the equilibrium constant. There are some peculiar properties of K, we will study that. As activity is dimensional number, thermodynamic equilibrium constant is also a dimensionless quantity. Its magnitude depends upon stoichiometric number of balanced chemical equation. K can be determined experimentally. The reaction Gibbs energy at standard state is a function of temperature. Actually, Gibbs energy is a function of temperature and pressure, but at standard state pressure is constant. So, reaction Gibbs energy at standard state is a function of temperature. Similarly, the equilibrium constant is also a function of temperature. The value of K cannot be interpreted unless it is accompanied by a balanced chemical reaction. So, balanced chemical equation is very important in order to determine the magnitude or value of equilibrium constant. So, from this equation 38, we can infer some conclusions. What are the conclusions? Case 1, when Gibbs energy at standard state, reaction Gibbs energy at standard state is positive. When this reaction Gibbs energy becomes positive, K will be negative. So, what does that mean? K is directly related to activities, or if it is a gaseous reaction, it is directly related to partial pressures. So, I am assuming that the reaction is gaseous. So, I can write partial pressure of, suppose A is going to B. the reaction is A is going to B. So I can write partial pressure of A is greater than partial pressure of B, which means reactant A is favored in the reaction or reaction proceeds in backward direction. Similarly, case 2, when the free energy of reaction at standard state is negative, then what will happen at that situation? When the LHS is negative, what will be the magnitude of K? K is again directly related to partial pressure. So I can write partial pressure of B or partial pressure of product is greater than partial pressure of A or partial pressure of reactants. So product B is favored in a reaction and the reaction proceeds in forward direction. So let us understand equilibrium constant in taking an example. We will consider the example of formation of ammonia in the gaseous state from nitrogen and hydrogen. This is the balanced chemical reaction. Again, to determine equilibrium constant, the balanced chemical reaction is very important. So again, the reaction Gibbs energy at standard state, as I have said, is given as Gibbs energy of formation at standard state for products minus Gibbs energy of formation at standard state for reactants. That is what it is written. Gibbs energy of formation at standard state for products minus Gibbs energy of formation for reactants at standard state. So if I express my K will be activities of the products divided by activities of the reactants, each raised to their stoichiometric coefficients. Then if the pressure is low, the gases tend to behave as a perfect gas, means all the real gases start behaving as a ideal gas when the pressure decreases. So we can always replace this activity by a pressure ratio, and the pressure ratio is Pi by Pi0. Pi means the species name. It can be product, it can be reactant, and P0 is again a reference state. Generally it is the standard state. So if I replace my activities as in terms of partial pressures, so I will write chemical equilibrium constant is equal to partial pressure of the products raised to their coefficient, stoichiometric coefficient, divided by partial pressure of the reactants raised to their corresponding stoichiometric coefficient. So this is broadly all about what? Equilibrium constant, and it is only applicable to the equilibrium state, not any other state of the chemical reaction. For any other state, we will use reaction coefficient we discussed just now. So there are various types of equilibrium constants. It can be expressed in terms of molality, or it can be expressed in terms of concentration, molar concentration. The equilibrium constant can also be expressed in terms of partial pressure. Just now we've seen how it is expressed in terms of partial pressure. We'll see how it is expressed in terms of molality. It depends upon the reaction. If the components of the reaction is expressed in terms of molality, then it is better to express the equilibrium constant in terms of molality. If the components of the reactions are expressed in terms of concentration, it is better to express the equilibrium constant in terms of molar concentration. So if we express in terms of molality is given, the activity will be replaced by the term molality. Again, to make the quantity dimensionless, we will divide by a reference state. Here the reference state is M0. What is M0? M0 is 1 mole per kg. And Mi is the molality of the component. It can be product, it can be reactant also. Similarly, when we express the activity in terms of molar concentration, I can write Ai is equal to Cm divided by C0. Cm is the molar concentration of the species, of ith species, and C0 is again a reference state, and here it is 1 mole per liter or 1 mole per decimeter cube. Again, in terms of pressure, activity can be replaced as Pi by P0. Pi is the partial pressure of the ith species and P0 is reference state pressure. Generally, it is the standard state pressure, and whose value is 1 bar or 1 atmosphere of pressure. Now, how do we determine equilibrium constant? As I said, equilibrium constant can be expressed in many forms. It can be either in terms of molality, it can be either in terms of molar concentration, it can be either in terms of partial pressure. Soon we'll also discuss that the equilibrium constant can also be in terms of mole fraction also. So how to determine in any of the form, how to determine the equilibrium constant? There are broadly two methods. One is physical method and the second one is chemical method. What do we do in a physical method? In a physical method, we measure density, pressure, light absorption, refractive index, then electromotive force and electrical conductivity. These are all the physical parameters, and we during the course of reaction we try to measure these physical parameters in order to determine the equilibrium constant. The advantage of physical method is the reaction need to be stopped. We can measure the physical properties along with the reaction. So that is a greater advantage of using a physical method. Otherwise, one can use a chemical method also. What happens in a chemical method? In chemical method, generally the concentration of reactants of either the reactant or any of the product is measured in a periodic interval. So how do you do that? You have to stop the reaction. In chemical method, you have to stop the reaction, sudden arresting of the reaction where rate of further chemical change is negligible. So that you have to stop the reaction so that the reaction comes to stand still. Then only you can measure the concentration of either the reactant or the product. So we can do this by suddenly lowering the temperature. Suppose a chemical reaction is going on at a particular temperature, then all of a sudden if you decrease the temperature of the system, then the reaction will be arrested. Otherwise, we can also use a destruction. We can use a method to destroy the catalyst. Suppose catalyst is employed in the reaction, we can use an passive method to destroy the catalyst so that the chemical reaction is stopped, and we can measure the concentration of either the reactant or the product, and from the concentration of the reactant and product we can determine the equilibrium constant. Then some of the important properties of equilibrium constant. Suppose there is a reaction A goes from reaction B. Now same value of equilibrium constant is obtained when the equilibrium is approached from either side of reaction. You go forward or you go backward, the magnitude of equilibrium constant will remain same. Then the second property is same value of equilibrium constant is obtained when initial concentration of reactants are varied over wide range. Means equilibrium constant is independent of concentration of the reactants. Means you can start with 1 mole of reactant or you can start with 100 mole of reactant. In both the cases, the equilibrium constant will have same value. Then the third property is if a balanced chemical reaction is divided by a factor 2, the equilibrium constant for it will be square root of K. So if I divide my balanced chemical reaction equation by a factor 2, then my equilibrium constant will be a square root factor. Then when two reactions are added, the equilibrium constant of new reaction is equal to product of two equilibrium constants. Suppose there are two reactions, reaction A and reaction B. Then when the third reaction comes is a new reaction, then the equilibrium constant of the third reaction will be product of the first two reactions when they are added. When they are subtracted, then the equilibrium constant of the new reaction will be the ratio of the two previous equilibrium constants. So these are some characteristic property. All these properties can be verified from the mathematical expression of equilibrium constant we have discussed earlier. So I leave it open to the audience to verify it mathematically. Then we will discuss a concept called extent of reaction and equilibrium constant. How extent of reaction and equilibrium constants are related. In the last session also we discussed that extent of chemical reaction is expressed by a term called Xi. So extent of reaction is written by Xi. So let's consider a simple reaction where N2O4 is converted to 2NO2, and so it is a gaseous state reaction, and let's assume that the gases are in ideal state. So we'll take a simple case, means initial number of moles of N2O4 is 1 mole. We'll consider the simplest case. Suppose we start with 1 mole of the reactant, and at the initial state there is no product. Then suppose after some time equilibrium is achieved, and the equilibrium amount of the reactant is 1 minus xi, and for the product side it will be 2 xi. 2 xi moles of products will be formed. Now at equilibrium, what is the total number of moles? The total number of moles will be 1 plus xi. So what will be the mole fraction at the equilibrium state? Mole fraction will be the what is the definition of mole fraction? The definition of mole fraction is number of moles divided by total number of moles. So for reactants, the mole fraction is 1 minus xi by 1 plus xi. For products, it is 2 xi by 1 plus xi. Now suppose I want to determine the equilibrium constant. As this is a gaseous state reaction, I can express my components in terms of partial pressure. So if I do that, what I'll get equilibrium constant is equal to partial pressure of the product divided by partial pressure of the reactants. Again, both raised to their corresponding stoichiometric coefficient. Now we know partial pressure is equal to mole fraction into total pressure. So partial pressure of NO2 is equal to mole fraction of NO2 plus total pressure of NO2. Similarly, partial pressure of N2O4 is equal to mole fraction of N2O4 into total pressure of N2O4. Here there is a mistake here. Here I have written partial pressure as PNO2, and here I am saying this is mole fraction and this is total pressure. So it should be capital P. Only P, not partial pressure of NO2. Here it is correct. Here it should be P divided by P0. And here also this should be P. So if I rearrange the terms, again I am saying there is a mistake here. It should be capital P and this should be only P. Okay, P by P0 square, P by P0. So if we rearrange the terms, we will get equilibrium constant is equal to 4 xi square P by P0 divided by 1 minus xi square. The expression is based on the fact that partial pressure of any gas is equal to mole fraction in total pressure. Here we have implemented this theory. Then here this expression derives a relation between this is equilibrium constant and this is xi. Xi is what? The extent of reaction. So we can find out extent of reaction. If we rearrange this, we can find out the extent of reaction is equal to 1 by 1 plus 4 by k product P by P0 root over. So this equilibrium, this extent of reaction expression is applicable to all the A to B. Suppose A is forming 2B, or for every reaction where product is A and reactant is A and product is 2B, or any A to 2B type of reaction, this expression is valid. For any other type of reaction, we have to derive a corresponding expression. So we will not do that here. We'll see a more realistic thing, how we can determine equilibrium by measuring density. Again, density is a physical parameter, as I said. Now density is mass by volume. So density is mass by volume, and so we'll measure volume maybe. So let the mass of N2O4 is being converted to NO2. So let us assume that the initial mass of N2O4 is m gram. So the corresponding volume will be what? M by mRT divided by m1 into P. What will be m1? M1 will be the molar mass of N2O4. This expression is derived from the ideal gas expression. PV is equal to nRT. So if we rearrange that, what is N? N is equal to mass by molar mass, and P is just changed sides, cross multiplication kind of thing. So V1 is equal to small m divided by capital M1 RT by P1. That is the volume occupied by N2O4. Then at constant temperature and pressure, let equilibrium volume be N2O4. This is the initial volume V1. Let the equilibrium volume is V2. Now how equilibrium volume is defined? Small m divided by M2 RT by P. What is M2? M2 is average molar mass of the partial dissociated gas. So N2O4 is dissociated into NO2. Now capital M2 is the average molar mass of partial dissociated gas. How M2 is given? M2 is given as molar mass of N2O4 into mole fraction of N2O4 plus molar mass of NO2 into mole fraction of NO2. Suppose we take the ratio V1 by V2. If we take the ratio V1 by V2, it will be M2 by M1. Molar mass of, it will be proportional to M2 by M1. Molar mass of average molar mass of partial dissociated gas divided by average molar mass of N2O4 gas. Again, that will be 1 by 1 plus xi. How this 1 by 1 plus xi is coming? Let's understand that. Where V1 is proportional to initial number of moles. V1 is what? Volume occupied by N2O4 gas before the starting of the reaction. And before the starting of the reaction, how many number of moles are there? Only 1. Similarly, what is V2? V2 is volume of the gas occupied at equilibrium. So V2 will be proportional to number of moles at equilibrium state. So how many moles are there at equilibrium state? We have discussed in the table just before. This is 1 plus xi. So V1 is proportional to 1 or initial number of moles. V2 is proportional to the number of moles at equilibrium state. For this case, it is 1 plus xi. If we rearrange this, M2 by M1 is equal to 1 by 1 plus xi, we will get xi is equal to M1 minus M2 divided by M2. So this again expresses the extent of reaction in terms of molar mass of the reactants, molar mass of the reactants and product. Again, this expression is important. This is a case, special case study for dissociation of N2O4, where we determine what extent of reaction. So with this we'll study here. We'll stop here. Next session we'll discuss fugacity and activity. Thank you.